Hello guys and welcome back to a brand new match preview here on the channel. My name is James and today we're going to go ahead and sit down and talk to you guys about Reading's upcoming fixture against Port Vale. It is a big 6-pointer once again as Reading find themselves in a relegation battle in League 1. Coming up against 22nd place Port Vale in this fixture. We've got a couple of games in hand over Reading, so I think it's vital that Reading pick up all 3 points in this fixture. Before we talk about the actual game itself though, I just want to touch on a couple of things about some fans. Port Vale, I've got to say a big fair play to them. Obviously we know what happened last time as this is a rescheduled game as Reading invaded the pitch to try and save their football club and it started to work out for the better. Much more communication has come forward since the pitch invasion and obviously we've had a lot more to hear about from the sale of the club, a lot more than we would have heard anyway just a couple of months back. So big fair play to all the Port Vale fans. You haven't heard them kick up a fuss, you haven't heard them moan too much obviously about the fixture retaking place. The second thing I want to touch on is the Portsmouth fans themselves as well. Listen, I understand what happened 15 years ago, there's no need to be so bitter about it. Obviously the same situation has now happened to Reading, which is unfortunate, but I don't think it makes it right. I don't think 15 years ago Reading fans were in the right, and I don't think 15 years later Portsmouth fans are either. But to give me death threats, homophobic comments, which makes no sense to me at all, and to find my personal Facebook account to message me to try and talk to me about why I called your fans pathetic, I think is pretty pathetic in itself. Listen, at the end of the day, it's all a bit of banter, and I understand that when I make these videos that I'm going to get a little bit back from some fans. I've been doing this long enough, I've been doing it for what, 7-8 years now, so I understand what's coming towards me, but sometimes there's a line and I feel like Portsmouth fans overstep that line. I've lost all my respect for Portsmouth fans, and I know that doesn't really matter to them, but listen, it is what it is, and we move on, and I won't waste my breath on that club again. Just hope they don't bottle that promotion. Now, we're here to talk about Reading versus Port Vale, and it should be an interesting fixture. Port Vale obviously got a new manager under Darren Moore. First game, lost 3-2 to Cheltenham at the weekend, but they've gone on a pretty poor run of form as of late and find themselves in the relegation zone. Last win was on December 29th after beating Blackpool by 3-0. Since then, they lost 2-1 to Carlisle, a 3-3 draw with Charlton, a 1-0 loss to them, 3-0 loss away at Fleetwood, a 1-0 loss at home to Leyton Orient, a 2-2 draw with Stevenage and a 3-2 loss in Darren Moore's first game against Cheltenham. Now Reading should look to take advantage of this Port Vale side that obviously haven't had a great run of form as of late. One thing that I do want to touch upon is away results for Port Vale. When you take a look at their results against bottom table clubs, you can see when they played Carlisle, they lost 2-1. When they played Fleetwood, they lost 3-0. When they played Cheltenham, they lost 3-2. When they played Charlton, they did win 3-2, but they also lost away at Shrewsbury too. Now they are the bottom clubs that don't include themselves in League 1, and that is the results that they've got at the moment. It's not good reading for Port Vale fans, and from the away form you can see that they've played 15 games away from home, 3 wins, 5 draws and 7 losses, with 13 goals scored and 28 goals conceded, leaving them on a minus 15 goal difference, which is completely different compared to their home form where they sit with 5 wins, 2 draws, 8 losses, with 19 goals scored and 20 conceded. Now, when the two teams met earlier in the season, Reading lost by 1-0, and it was a much different Reading side that played Port Vale on the day. The likes of Andy Carroll played, and just completely different squad. Now, in terms of this fixture as well, when you take a look at Reading, they actually have one of the better home forms in the entire league. 16 games played so far for Reading with 8 wins, 4 draws and 4 losses, with 25 goals scored and 16 conceded, leaving them on a plus 9 goal difference. I think this should be a game where Reading should win. I don't think it's a game where we got to look past Port Vale, don't get me wrong, but I think it's a game where Reading should win. When you take a look at the form tables as well, Reading are sitting very high up, Port Vale are sitting quite low down. I think we've had just 2 losses in 14 games, so I think it's something where Reading really should be looking to take advantage of this fixture and get all 3 points. That isn't to say though that Port Vale are a bad side, because I'm not going to sit here and slag them off. I do think Port Vale can survive. I think they've got enough games in hand to climb themselves out of this relegation zone. I think it's really important that they get off to a good start under Darren Moore though. Obviously, it's something that I don't hope that they do in this fixture here. But when you take a look at Port Vale's upcoming games, it could be something where they might be able to take a couple of points. You see they've got Lincoln at home, Fleetwood at home, they've got Shrewsbury at home as well. Those are the games where I'm hoping Port Vale will think they'll be able to take advantage of them. Obviously with Reading coming up, every team should go into it hoping to pick up all 3 points in every game, right? But I'm hoping this is one where they think, oh, we can get a draw in this fixture. Now, in terms of key players to watch out for in this Port Vale squad, I'm just going to have a look and see who the top goal scorer is so far for this season. It's Ben Garrity with 9 goals. Ethan Chrislett sits on 6 and James Wilson is sat on 3. Ethan Chrislett as well has got 7 assists for the season, with Connor Grant sitting with 4. Look, Connor Ripley's got the most appearances. I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know a lot about Port Vale. Unfortunately, Reading haven't been in this division for a long time, so it's not like the Championship where I can sit here and say, yeah, I know this player, I know that player, this is what this player does great, this is what this player does bad. It's not somewhat with my specialist subject, unfortunately, but I think Port Vale still do have enough bottle to give Reading a decent game. Now, in terms of Reading at home, like we said earlier, a very good home form and a 50% win ratio is what Reading have at the moment. And I feel like when Reading play at home, it's so much better than away. Obviously, only a 12% win rate went away from home for Reading. You can see the difference in the two lots of form. We read Reading's home form off earlier, but when you look away from home, 17 games played, 2 wins, 5 draws and 10 losses. Doesn't make for good reading compared to that home form. I feel like if you take Reading's home form and even half it to the away form, Reading will be sitting comfortably and even thinking about maybe a playoff push. Now, what would I talk about for Reading's starting lineup for this one? Well, the big key talking point I think for this fixture is who will be in goal. David Button made a lot of mistakes in that Portsmouth game. After further inspection on the 4th goal, I spoke about how it should have been a foul originally on David Button for Portsmouth's 4th goal. I don't stick by that 100%. David Button has made a mistake. The Portsmouth player has fouled him in the process as well, but Button should be a lot stronger there. Portsmouth have also handballed the ball for the 4th goal, so I think maybe it should have not stood just for that as well. But David Button made a few mistakes in that game. I feel like he should have saved the first shot. The first goal, came to his near post and he's just let it go in. Second one, there's not really too much he can do about it. It was a really good finish. The third one as well, again, it's another shot on target, which maybe he could have dove for and didn't get to it again. And the 4th one, again, David Button is to blame. So it'd be interesting to see who starts in goal, whether it be Joel Pereira or whether it will be David Button. I think across the back 4, I feel like you should stick with Clinton Mola, Amadou Mbenge, Tyler Binden and Andy Yeardon for now. I feel like Charlie Savage should come into the midfield instead of Michael Craig for this fixture. He's a lot more forward-thinking of a player, and this is a game where you want that forward-thinking player to play. Lewis Wing and Harvey Nibbs continuing to play in the midfield, with Ehib Achaman moving out to the left wing position and Femi Aziz on the right. And I'd like to see Sam Smith return up front as well. In terms of a score prediction for this game, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Reading. Reading don't win games by big amounts of goals, and recently have kept the conceding down, bar that one game at the weekend. Kept the conceding down to a minimum, so I can see a 2-1 win for Reading in this fixture, and yeah, slowly dragging ourselves out of this relegation fight. That's going to be it for this video today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been James, and we hope to see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.